The rules are now out. Jake Paul getting ready for an Anthony Joshua fight. And some of these rules may surprise some of you guys.
Both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest.
And Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Jake Paul is spiraling as Anthony Joshua drops the full Queensberry rules set for their December 19th showdown. 10-ounce gloves, real knockouts, official records. And Jake instantly looked like someone who just realized he'd signed his own career death warrant. What was supposed to be promotional hype flipped into a public execution announcement, exposing how wildly outmatched he is under true heavyweight regulations. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua.
Boxing. Anthony Joshua is going to take on the YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul in a professional bout in Miami next month. The former world heavyweight champion.
Jake Paul deluded enough to think it was a good option to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua.
The moment those rules went public, the world around Jake Paul went cold. Not hype, not noise, not the influencer chaos he thrives in. Just darkness. Joshua ripped the mask off the whole production and showed what this really is. A fully sanctioned heavyweight collision on December 19, 2025 at Miami's Casa Center, where one man walks out and the other is at serious risk of being flattened.
Jake's a good novice. Jake's a good novice.
Oh, yeah.
And if he wanted to have a legitimate career in boxing, then he would climb the domestic rankings in America, and he might even make top 50.
Jake spent years constructing a carefully engineered empire, bravado, controversy, viral moments, shock marketing. But one sheet of rules shattered it like glass. People stopped asking who might win. The question shifted into something darker, more pressing. How long will Jake even last? Minutes? Rounds? Seconds?
A huge risk. It's a huge risk. You can't look away from that.
And the boxing world didn't just comment, it detonated. Analysts, promoters, retired heavyweights, and even casual fans sounded like they were reading an obituary in advance. There was no sugarcoating. A man willingly stepped into a scenario where the odds are almost comedic. Joshua isn't here for influencer theatrics. He's a man who has fought and beaten 260 pounds knockout machines, world champions, elite threats. This isn't a scripted crossover. Joshua is entering a professional arena to escort Jake Paul to the exit before the opening bell even rings.
You've got to be in it to win it, and AJ was in the right place to maximize the opportunity around him, and he has defined a sensational legacy.
After this, so what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute.
Then came the part that sent the internet into meltdown. These aren't soft entertainment rules designed to cushion Jake. These are strict Queensberry rules. The same unforgiving standard used in real heavyweight battles. No loopholes. No exhibition padding. 8 rounds. 3 minutes each. 24 minutes of potential destruction.
Both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest.
10-ounce gloves, thin, punishing, built for transmitting pure damage. No headgear. No gentle pacing. No referee babysitting a YouTuber who thinks he can withstand a clean Joshua knockout. And nearly every analyst, fan, and likely even his own corner believes that knockout is coming. The result will sit on Jake's official professional record forever.
Contest is a professional bout and will go on the boys' records. But that being said, this is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. I'm going to give you my prediction right.
Joshua didn't just approve those rules, he demanded them. Every detail screams authenticity. Every stipulation drags Jake out of his influencer sandbox and drops him into a real fight that could realistically break him. The advantages Jake used to rely on evaporate. His speed means nothing against a man who has thrown and absorbed hundreds of heavyweight bombs. His bullying tactics against smaller fighters become useless. Joshua crafted a battlefield where every element, pace, strategy, power, endurance, psychology, belongs entirely to him.
200 pounds versus 252 pounds. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua.
Then there's the weight. Joshua capped at 245 pounds, lean enough to move like a predator, heavy enough to shatter ribs and confidence simultaneously. 8 rounds, 3-minute frames, 10-ounce gloves, knockouts fully legal. Anyone would sweat. Jake's cruiserweight toolkit now looks like a sparkler pointed at a flamethrower. Every Joshua jab, hook, and counter will land with the force of a man who has dismantled opponents heavier and far more seasoned.
I just want to see it because there's a lot of hate out here on influencer boxing. A lot of people have got different opinions on boxing these days. But I want to ask you, do you box?
And the deeper fans dug into the rules, the worse it looked for Jake. People started calling it a death chamber, because under these conditions, Jake has nothing to fall back on. Under exhibitions, he could survive. Under influencer rules, he could stall. But under full heavyweight standards? There's nowhere to hide. Every second, Joshua has full permission to unleash the same violence he's used to stop world champions. Jake went from controlling narratives to stepping blindfolded into a battlefield he never truly understood.
If this is a real, legitimate fight, Jake Paul is absolutely crazy. If not crazy, he's super brave. And it'll be interesting to see.
Joshua even said it outright, no mercy. And when he says it, it isn't a catchphrase. It's a warning. The boxing world froze because they know exactly what no mercy looks like from him. It looks like men collapsing from body shots. It looks like knockouts that end careers. It looks like an experience Jake Paul has never tasted. The power of a natural heavyweight with surgical precision.
It can happen in a variety of ways, various ways, but I'm not dependent on punch power, you know.
That statement cracked Jake's image. For the first time in years, he didn't look in command. His interviews felt uneven, his jokes forced, his aura unstable. His own fans sensed it. The same people who once hyped him began sounding uneasy. Even his diehards admitted they were concerned. That's not normal. That's the type of energy a crowd gives off when they recognize danger before the fighter does.
A professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt will disappear. He's talking to you, Charlamagne.
Okay. And it adds up. Jake built his brand on disruption. The shock factor, the unexpected win, the upset nobody predicted. But Joshua isn't underestimating him. Joshua built these rules to stop the games. He stripped away every safety net Jake had ever leaned on. This isn't influencer boxing anymore. This is a heavyweight destroyer standing across from a cruiserweight entertainer. Once those rules hit the public, it stopped feeling like hype and started feeling like a countdown. December 19th turned from a date into a warning label. The moment Jake Paul walks into something bigger, harder, and far more violent than anything he's ever faced. And whether he knows it or not, the world already decided the ending. He didn't just lose the narrative, he lost the room.
AJ can wake out his sleep, all right,
Okay.
and put Jake Paul to sleep. And I ain't taking nothing from Jake Paul. I'm just telling you, I respect the fact that Jake Paul is getting in the ring with somebody like Anthony Joshua. But I'm telling you, night.
All Joshua had to do was release the rules, and the rules told the entire story. Jake Paul entered thinking it was a spectacle. Joshua converted it into a sanctioned demolition, and the internet instantly understood what that meant.
Joshua is big, heavy puncher, but not as evasive. So I think if Jake has the right game plan, he has a pretty good shot of winning this fight.
Joshua made it unmistakably clear he wasn't treating Jake like a celebrity guest fighter or a crossover gimmick. He spoke about him the same way he talks about real heavyweight threats. Men like Vladimir Klitschko, Dillian White, Kubrat Pulev. That cold, clipped tone he uses when the promotion stops and the hunting begins. And Jake felt that. The man who built an empire on bravado suddenly looked like someone whose power cord had been yanked out. His interviews took on that shaky, I'm fine tone people use when they're on the edge of breaking. Even his supporters noticed.
Well, by the sounds of it, there's 50 million reasons why Anthony Joshua's taking this fight. In my head, I never ever thought this fight would happen. Why? Because of Anthony Joshua's desire to be in the history books, to be a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. To me, it shows me this.
Joshua wasn't just talking tough, he was defining the terms of a real fight, not a spectacle, not a cash grab, not an experiment. A real bout that will be permanently recorded in the professional books. And he said it bluntly, he's not here to entertain Jake Paul's audience. He's here to erase him, the confidence, the hype, the narrative, the illusion. When Joshua speaks like that, he delivers. He doesn't bluff. He inflicts damage. And Jake Paul walked straight into the crosshairs.
Be the same for all of us, you know. Honestly, all of us. Many greats have walked it before. All of the undercard are going to walk it. I'm going to walk it. I'm going to feel just like any of them. But when I step into that ring, that's when I switch on and I'm ready. So.
But the real brutality isn't what Joshua said. It's how the rules reinforce every word. These aren't influencer rules, not YouTube rules. These are pure, unforgiving, professional Queensberry rules. The exact battlefield where Joshua has sent elite heavyweights into darkness. The second those rules became official, it was like someone yanked the power cord out of Jake Paul's entire strategy.
This is a more dangerous fight than Gervonta Tank Davis, but it's a more winnable fight than Gervonta Tank Davis.
Start with the basics. Heavyweight rules show no mercy to Jake Paul. He's a cruiserweight on his best day. And even there, his power only looks impressive when he's punching men half his size or halfway retired. Under true heavyweight standards, his shots become nothing. Joshua has taken punches from 260 pounds wrecking machines, men who punch like collapsing buildings, and stayed upright. Jake's YouTube power is about to feel like a mosquito kiss on steel armor.
I think that it's a hopeless and potentially dangerous mismatch.
And the weight cap is terrifying. Joshua being set at 245 pounds is Jake's worst-case scenario. That's Joshua at peak danger, fast enough to slip and fire, sharp enough to pierce defenses, yet heavy enough to rattle ribs with a simple jab. Imagine what the right hand looks like at that weight. Actually, Jake definitely shouldn't.
Well, I quite hope for Jake Paul's long-term well-being that he does see it as a bit of a sparring exercise and something to get a few minutes under his belt in a ring in front of a big crowd before going on to fight Tyson Fury.
Then there's the glove size, 10 ounces. Basically small explosives wrapped in leather. These don't protect. They deliver damage with maximum precision. No headgear means pure impact. If Joshua lands clean, Jake's lights might dim instantly. Stack 8 full 3-minute rounds on top, and Jake is stepping into a world he has never experienced. 3 minutes with a real heavyweight feels like 3 hours underwater.
So I think AJ will struggle because it is an Owen situation. If he goes in there and Jake Paul lasts the distance, what does he tell you about AJ? Apart from he's just earned an extra 15 million quid.
These rules don't just favor Joshua, they expose Jake. They peel away every illusion that's protected his brand for years. Under influencer rules, he could hide behind awkward pacing, recycled footwork, and cardio gimmicks. Under heavyweight rules, the only goal is survival. The ring feels bigger. The power is real. The pressure suffocates. No friendly referee stepping in for breathers. Joshua can cut the ring, trap him, and break him down exactly the way he breaks real contenders.
And they both earned a spectacular amount of money, and this will be likewise. But I think anybody expecting a good fight, I think they're looking at the wrong thing, because it ain't going to be a good fight if this is on the level.
Jake is walking into a test he was never built for. A test Joshua has passed while fighting world champions. These rules drag Jake out of the influencer sandbox and toss him straight into a shark tank, where everyone is bigger, stronger, crueler, and far more skilled. And in that tank, Jake Paul isn't the attraction. He's the appetizer.
10-ounce gloves, heavyweight, Jake Paul can punch hard. But do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not, me.
Every detail on that rule sheet sends the same message. Joshua didn't come to entertain a YouTuber. He came to end the illusion. And as December 19th approaches, it's becoming painfully clear that Jake's confidence didn't just slip. It collapsed the moment he realized the fight was no longer on his terms. It's on Joshua's. And that changes everything.
And for Joshua, it's pretty simple. He's been out for quite a bit of time. He comes back and does one of the biggest events in the world.
When the rules dropped, the boxing world didn't react. It exploded. Analysts, promoters, retired legends, everyone rushed to microphones like the apocalypse had just been announced. Veteran heavyweights who've taken shots from true giants looked at Jake, a cruiserweight with influencer swagger, and said, "This kid isn't leaving the ring the same." They talked jaw alignment, eyelids, confidence, everything. When men who fought 260 pounds monsters warn you, you know you've wandered into a place where common sense has left the building.
Silencing the doubters and putting himself in a position to be in conversation for a belt, and he gets that if he beats Anthony Joshua.
Even promoters, the people who usually love chaos because chaos equals cash, were shaking their heads. They called the matchup insane, reckless, career-ending. And Netflix took a beating online for approving something that looks less like a boxing event and more like a slow-motion sacrifice. Commentators accused Netflix of chasing view counts over Jake's safety. And mismatch became too soft a word, too polite. The world saw a man voluntarily stepping into a situation where the outcome isn't debated. It's timed. Execution became the headline overnight, and honestly, it fits.
I think there's fear of injury in any sport, number one. Number two, I would say if you look at any boxing event on any given day, there's much larger mismatches than what this fight is.
But the real earthquake didn't come from experts. It came from Jake's own empire collapsing. The man who built himself on bulletproof confidence suddenly sounded like someone delivering final words before deployment. His interviews shifted from loud and unstoppable to oddly defensive, like he was trying to convince himself he made the right call. Spoiler, he didn't. And his fans sensed the fear early. People started begging him to pull out like he was about to walk into traffic. Even his loyalists looked shaken. When those people start wavering, the mask is cracking. Jake built his kingdom on bravado and dominance. But when the rules dropped, every fracture in that persona started glowing.
Unlike perhaps many of the fighters that Paul has taken on, Joshua isn't past it. He's still a prime fighter, even if he's not fought for 15 months due to those injuries. But some are fearing that there could be a serious injury.
The internet smelled blood instantly. Overnight, Jake went from showman to meme template. Reaction videos, breakdowns of Joshua's power, highlight reels, all framed like eulogies. People treated Jake's upcoming ring walk like a funeral procession. When your audience stops laughing with you and starts laughing at you, your empire isn't shaking, it's collapsing.
I think, look, you have to look at the experience that Jake has gained in the 5 years he's been in the sport. To be in your 12th or 13th fight in front of 80,000 people at AT&T Stadium in front of 125 million viewers, that's not experience you can gain normally.
Then comes Jake's greatest humiliation, the rule sheet itself, the document that exposed his worst nightmare. 4 years, he controlled narratives with modified gloves, exhibition loopholes, easy opponents, and flexible conditions. He turned boxing into influencer content. It worked until now. He's trapped in a fully sanctioned heavyweight fight with no shortcuts, no patches, no escape routes. Every punch Joshua throws is going on Jake's permanent record.
Who do I think is going to win this fight and how? Well, if I said to you, Jake Paul is going to win this fight by knockout, you would think I'm absolutely crazy, right?
And the knockout, when it lands, will flip Jake's world upside down. He can't claim it wasn't real boxing. He can't hide behind special rules. This loss will stamp itself onto his career like a billboard reminding him he flew too close to the sun and burned on contact.
So he's going to go into that event very calm and very composed. And I fully believe that he does 100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua.
It's two completely different specimens in there. I can't see any version of reality where Jake Paul somehow finds a way to win one round, let alone win the fight.